Hello and a very warm welcome to all the viewers of 3.0 TV. I'm Manoj Dara. So over the last couple of days, the crypto market has witnessed a huge downfall of the world's third largest cryptocurrency exchange, FTX's native token FTT, with a drop of over 80%. The FTX, which was valued at $32 billion at the start of this year, is suddenly facing the pressure of the liquidity crunch, and FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried lost 93% of his wealth overnight. So to discuss the entire episode of the Binance taking over FTX, we have invited a special guest. Let me introduce you to Mr. Raj Kapoor. He is founder of India Blockchain Alliance. Raj sir, welcome on 3.0 TV.
Always happy to be back with you, Manoj.
Thank you so much, sir. So your first reactions on this deal, how do you see this announcement and its impact on the market going forward? And my second question to you is, how did FTX, a multi-billion-dollar company, almost die overnight? So this is something which our viewers wanted to understand.
Well, just to understand the context of both these questions that you've asked me, I'll take the story back a year or so back. See, I don't know how many of us know, but Binance was, of course, an early investor in FTX. And FTX then started growing like crazy. In fact, they became the second biggest exchange. Now, try and see the patterns now here. The patterns are really interesting. Binance and FTX started as friends, now become competitors, because now FTX was growing big, big, big. So Binance suddenly decided to say, I'll sell my stake in FTX. And as part of the buyout at that time, they took $2 billion of it in FTT. What is FTT? It's basically a token that FTX created for using in its trading fees. So now Binance and FTX are friendly competitors. Why I'm giving a little context is that'll help us understand what really panned out in the last couple of days. So now Binance owns a hell of a lot of FTTs, $2 billion. And there's not a lot of FTT trading volume. Please keep a note of that. If we had been seeing that, we would have been forewarned. Anyways, a couple of days back, CZ comes out and says, hey, SBF has been talking a hell of bad stuff about us. He's been bad-mouthing us to regulators, lobbying in a way that will go to hurt Binance. This happened just recently. So what did he do? He announces publicly on Twitter. Why on Twitter? He's got 7 million followers, guys. And he said that he's going to dump the entire 2 billion FTT stash. And anybody now holding FTT knows that's really bad, right? So bad news, all right. Just a sec.
Sure.
Bad news for sure. And there has, obviously, it led to the panic selling. Now, exactly. Nobody wants to buy FTT also, because when a whale is dumping, everyone wants to sell and there's no one buying down. Numbers will go down, and that's the erosion we've seen over the last couple of days. Now, also, in this whole story, there is one more player, Alameda. Alameda is the hedge fund.
Exactly.
It enters here. They're kings, but there's a leakage. Now we just have, just like the story of the emperor with no clothes. That's exactly what happened. Now, they have 12 billion in assets, 7 billion in liabilities, but let's face facts. Half their assets are in FTT token, which is falling miserably and is illiquid now. You can't sell it. You really can't get anything out of it now, not even cents. Alameda might die. And if Alameda is in trouble, so is FTX.
Sure.
So the link between Alameda, FTX, and Binance now starts panning out very clearly. But most people think FTX is a blue chip company. Sam is famous. Exactly. Whatever he touches, it turns to gold, is what we said. He was a genius, right? At once upon a time, he was touted as the guy with the Midas touch. So then he and Alameda look out and see, when is the recovery going to happen? But nothing happens. But Sam says, oh, everything is fine. Everything is fine, really? It's just like when you ask your spouse or friend or girlfriend, is everything fine? And she says, yes, everything's fine. It's the same, everything is fine. Everything is not fine. But in spite of everything, it plunges. 24 hours pass, financial strength, nothing movement, and people start freaking out now and start withdrawing funds from FTX. Guys, that's exactly what happened to Celsius, Voyager, Luna in the last year.
Exactly.
People start getting panicky, and over $1 billion withdrawals, liquidity crunch, bang, it's all up.
Sure.
So then comes Binance and says, oh, right, they're in trouble. We bought them to save them, et cetera, Lots of them happen. Long story short, this has been panning out for a long, long time. It's just that we never saw the signs like for Celsius or Terra or anything else.
Sure.
So that's my take on why it happened.
Sir, you mentioned about an emperor without clothes. So I'm talking about FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, who was once a crypto bailout king, is now suddenly in need of a bailout by none other than its rival company, as we speak, Binance. So this dramatic reversal of fate happened after the CoinDesk has actually written and published a story about Alameda Research balance sheet holding, which mostly FTT tokens as assets, led Changpeng Zhao to declare that he is dumping all of its FTT holdings worth over 500 millions, and something which you have already mentioned. So my question to you is, was this some sort of a Ponzi scheme?
Yeah, but I personally, this is my personal opinion, I believe Alameda and FTX have been playing this very dangerous game for quite some time now. I mean, it's really dangerous because it's going to have a lot of repercussions going forward. It is only a matter of time which is going to be the trigger event. Now, the trigger event happened recently. Whether Binance had anything to do with it or not with the FTX demise is speculative. Alameda was running a Ponzi-like scheme. I may not call it a Ponzi scheme, but a Ponzi-like scheme. If you can see its leaked financials, just recently the financials were leaked. Have a look at those financials. They will tell the story. Basically, in hindsight, FTX threw really good money after bad, trying to bail out defunct crypto companies.
Exactly.
Because they thought, Sam will touch it, it's all going to be gold. They kept funding an ecosystem during the crypto winter and draining their liquidity. What we see today, Binance basically triggered it off. It's not necessarily the only reason. It is much beyond that. There are layers and layers of it. And I think they really didn't do a great job there. This was coming. We saw it all coming.
Exactly, sir. So as we speak, that the main reason behind Binance buying FTX, they have mentioned was a liquidity concern. So Sam Bankman-Fried and Changpeng Zhao exchanged war of words over Twitter when Bankman-Fried accused Changpeng Zhao of spreading false rumors of the FTX insolvency. That's what the biggest concern was. And we're talking about the Twitter spat which they had. But in a shocking turn of events, Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency, has reached a deal with Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX to buy the rival cryptocurrency exchange for an undisclosed amount. So, which is actually the reason why they have mentioned about the company, they are saving the company from the liquidity crisis. So my question to you is, do you think this was a strategic move by Changpeng Zhao and Binance?
I completely think so. In fact, it's very evident, isn't it? There can be two swords cannot last in a field. There has to be only one king. This is exactly, now FTX was really coming in really fast. Binance probably got a little scared of that, probably said, let's do it. Or the other, let's not put it a conspiracy theory, but as another theory goes that, well, both these guys decided that they might merge. And I'm sure there was a swap internal swap somewhere, a deal somewhere which none of us has reported or we can see, because most people don't really understand behind the scenes in the crypto space.
Right, sir.
If you even take a step back a little bit here, if you remember in 2021, Sequoia Capital invested 420 million in FTX at a 25 billion valuation. That is massive. And even then, Paradigm invested 400 million at a 32 billion in Jan 2022. Why did these companies make such a huge investments? The question even comes here. Are VCs part of all this? Were they also instrumental, or they also had a vested strategy, which could have led to the cascading effect which we see right now?
Fantastic. You have mentioned...
I think it has.
Yeah.
I think it has.
Yeah.
Look at that. They invested at that much and now it's a fire sale going on, for God's sake. Look at that. I think it's a whole thing. It was pretty much panned and planned over the last few months.
It is actually interesting comment which is coming from Mr. Raj, sir, that it is actually a planned event. But there is actually a big concern as far as the significant liquidity crunch comment which Changpeng Zhao made on Tuesday's tweet morning, that there is a significant liquidity crunch at FTX, and that after FTX asked for Binance's help. The company signed a non-binding agreement with the intent to fully acquire FTX.com and help cover or come out, help this FTX to come out of the liquidity crunch. And Zhao also added that Binance was initially based in China, but now claims no official headquarters will be conducted full diligence in the coming days. And the firm has also the discretion to pull out of the deal anytime. So, meanwhile, this is actually an event, sir. So, Bankman-Fried confirmed the agreement in his own Twitter thread, stating that the two parties has agreed to a strategic transaction. So, my next question to you is, who do you think will benefit more from this deal? So, are we at a time when we are talking about a large debt pile which will be left when Binance acquires FTX, or is it the FTX will have themselves saved from this catastrophe?
Well, it's something like saying, that it's like a live-in relationship before you get, instead of a marriage. In a live-in relationship, you keep all the doors open for each other. I can date somebody, I can go out with somebody, I'm not going to get married. Marriage is a commitment. This is like a live-in relationship, guys. I'll tell you one thing, guys. It so smells of a complete conspiracy of the takeover. Binance wanted to take them over. I guess everything was settled before that. The right noises were made, the right tweets were made, the right messages were sent out in the last 48 hours. And here we have a beautiful company, a so-called great company, FTX, now selling at peanuts. It's a very classic case of how larger companies can get, and when people work together around this, they can make situations like this happen. And they made it happen. Right words, right perception management, right tweets, creating the fear factor. The fear factor is the most critical factor, and they embedded it beautifully inside.
Right, sir.
I see not a major problem, not just for FTX. Of course, they might get acquired, whatever. But as we said, it's an open-ended letter. It has no conclusion. It's keeping you and me guessing. Why can't it be conclusive, like a marriage? Why is it still a live-in relationship? That, I think, has all the answers to all the questions that are going to unfurl over the next few months, not the weeks, in fact. And I think we are going to see a massive cascading of the crypto valuations of all crypto assets coming down in the next few weeks.
So, I mean, this is actually a big statement, sir. I mean, you expect the valuations of the entire crypto assets to come down, but
I expect this. Yes, I do.
Exactly, this is your expectations. And
Yes.
but as we speak, the Binance takeover of FTX, which is the announcement after the announcement, the FTX has actually mentioned the acquisition impacts only the non-US business of FTX.com, and FTX will remain independent of Binance. However, according to a 2021 audit, the US part of the FTX accounted for just 5% of the total revenue. So FTX is based in Bahamas, where the Bankman Fried is actually staying. And market participants fear that if the FTX situation is not resolved by Binance bid to purchase the exchange, a sharper sell-off in the market could trigger a liquidation cascading, as you have already mentioned, in the entire cryptocurrency market, which includes Bitcoin and the other top cryptocurrencies. So,
absolutely,
the meltdown, as we speak, sir, has sparked recollections of the crypto market, which is actually led by Celsius and actually punctured the entire cryptocurrency market, triggered by the Terra blockchain's UST stablecoin. The cryptocurrency led Celsius, trading venture Voyager, and the investment fund 3 Arrow Capital. So my last question to you is, sir, what is your take? Did the markets not see this coming? And what is the outlook for the markets going forward?
Well, actually, crypto's superior transparency is now seems just like a promise. We all talk about decentralization, et cetera, et cetera. With the way things are having, I see a polarization with the big exchanges coming together and creating a sort of a monopolistic situation. I see that. Despite all the big buzz around blockchain, DLT, a code, and code, et cetera, which we say everybody's available for everybody to read. The sad reality is the recomposing a clear image of an entity's balance sheet is still a vast, big mess for addresses. Now, if you look at a lot of people, we have a lot of experts, and that's correctly so. We study the charts, right, to see what's going to happen in the future, where the price rise is going to be, et cetera, what you can expect. Because a lot of technical analysis goes in that, which includes trend lines, candlestick patterns, other factors. All trading system, bots and people alike, automatically follow a strong sell signature created by any one company. In this case, we know who. In this case, we know Binance. So it's time basically to reevaluate the trading rationale. When we have monopolistic forces, all these candlesticks, all these MACDs, everything is going to go for a toss, because one unit can make that big difference. So basically, I'll tell you guys, it's time to reevaluate trading rationale, if not your morality.
Fantastic.
That's my concluding line.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you so much for offering your comments on this important event about Binance taking over FTX. Although this acquisition is not completed and it will be announced in maybe a few weeks' time and in months' time, we don't know that. But thank you so much, sir, for offering your comments. It was really good to have you on 3.0 TV. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So this was Mr. Raj Kapoor giving his view about Binance taking over FTX. That's all there is in this special interaction. This is Manoj Dara signing off. But keep watching 3.0 TV for more such interesting updates. Thank you.